So as you can see, the Model Y can do a lot. But the Model Y Performance can do it all. Road trip, grocery runs, organized racing. What else do you want it to do? It's a great daily driver. It's a great road tripper. Great track car. It's pretty darn cool. I'd get it again. You know, that's why I leased this one. Because I did it for 2 years instead of 3. So I went with the shortest option possible. And I did it with the knowledge, concrete knowledge, that the Juniper would be coming out in 25, sometime in 25. This lease is up in April of 26. Right now it's November of 24. So this is our 6-month review. And let me just give you some tips on picking up a Tesla. And so as you can see here, I brought a bunch of stuff with me to the Tesla service center. My camera gear, cleaning gear, things of that nature. You can see in this. I used the rollaway. I put it in the Uber and took myself over to the service center. The closest one, any service center, is about 2 hours away from me. There's a showroom about half an hour away, and there is a promise of a service center near me, but that hasn't materialized yet. So the nearest service center was 2 hours away. Took the Uber with all that stuff you saw, and basically I followed along some of the tips of some other Tesla owners. Get the floor mats. So I went with the Tesla floor mats. I only did it because they were available. They're actually pretty good. Clean them before you stick them in the car. They're a pretty strong rubber smell. So use something like a wheel cleaner, or I used Brake Buster, if you're wondering what I used. So use that, clean them off, brush them, stiff brush, let them air dry in the sun. But I got those. I didn't take them with me on the Uber, and I got them here in the garage waiting. So when I got here, I threw them in. That's when I discovered the rubber smell, and lived with it for about a week, and then just decided to throw them out on the driveway here and scrub them down. The other choice was actually my first choice. The floor mats from Tess Stuff. Tess TUF? Yeah, I think it's 2 F's. 2 S's. TessStuff.com. And the Tesla ones have been fine. Off the Tesla site, that kind of thing. And I'll create an accessories video, because the other really important one I would recommend is the matte screen cover, because the screen is perfectly fine in sunlight. It really is. It gets bad after you've touched it for a while. Now all those fingerprints all over the screen are what creates the glare that really prevents you from seeing the screen. And so the matte cover by Spigen has been perfect. All I've ever done is clean the dust off of it. I've never, used any sort of cleaner to get on, removing the fingerprints, stuff like that. Didn't have to. So those are the 2 big ones that I would recommend. And then supercharging and charging at home. I can tell you about both. So charging at home is, incredibly convenient. You literally just plug in, and even now after 6 months I'm still just using the what I call the level nothing the wall charger, your 3-prong outlet, the kind of thing your vacuum cleaner plugs into. I've been using that. It's been fine. It's not fast, not at all. So if I need fast, there's a supercharger nearby that I will pump in the juice. But for everyday commuting, no big deal. And that's kind of a half truth, because when the world ended, back in March of 2020, they sent us all remote. So I've been remote ever since. And so I work from home. So if I had the same commute as last time, level 2 charging, I'm still going to install it, quite frankly. I'm going to get the Tesla one, install it myself next to the breaker panel. No big deal. And so having an EV is really not something I ever thought I would do. Ever. No sound, no charisma. And then I had to rent a vehicle in December of 23 for a flight to New York. I had to rent a vehicle there. And the cheapest thing was the Tesla Model 3. Black, of course, because apparently that's all they ever bought. And Hertz. And man, the first 30 seconds of driving that thing, I was severely impressed. I really liked it. So that was it. That was the end of it for me. And living with the Model 3 for about a week revealed its limitations. I'm definitely a hatchback kind of guy. So Model Y, Model X, Model S is pretty much my go-to Teslas. And when I say go-to Tesla, I'm talking only the Tesla, because the supercharger network in my trip from Southwest Florida here to New York, Yonkers, New York, was absolutely painless. It was awesome. I've done plenty of road trips like that before in gas vehicles. And let me tell you, when you sit on a supercharger for 10 or 12 minutes, and in that time you're going over to the convenience store, bathroom break, get a snack, whatever, 10 minutes is gone in a blink of an eye. So stopping and charging to continue on was a nothing burger. It was easy, super easy. The other thing I would recommend is get a Teslafy account. And I'll go ahead and throw in a referral code for you guys. And I just do the $5 a month plan. And it is, if you're a data person, engineer, even if you're a mechanical engineer like me, you love data. Data's fun, and it's presented very well on the Teslafy.com website. It's some kind of API connection to the Tesla, and through your profile that you have linked between your phone and the Tesla. And the resolution is okay. The sampling rate, it's okay. I'm going to show you the sampling rate of one stint at a track day, and you see all those straight lines. So it's not sampling often. I'm not sure what it is, but it's certainly not once a second. Maybe once a minute, I don't know. Once every 20 seconds, who knows. But it becomes really obvious at the drag strip, where you've used a bunch of regen, used a bunch of battery on the way down, but you're only there for like 10 or 12 seconds. 8 seconds in the 8th mile. And so it doesn't pick up, not really, that kind of resolution. But it's fun, because odometer, over time, it keeps your history for the whole time you have it active. So I was pretty excited about getting my Tesla home, and I didn't think about it. So I missed those first 100 miles or so. on Teslafy. So, but I got everything else. Got the road trip to New York and everything. And the navigation, supercharger is pretty brilliant. And if you try to outsmart it, it becomes really dumb all of a sudden. So it's both brilliant and dumb at the same time. So what I did was I used a better route planner. And I charged to 100 here at home, all the way to my first stop. And I trusted an arrival of 10%, 8%, whatever. I was okay with it. So when I got from here to my first stop, I intentionally made it for a full charge. So my first stop was going to be a lunch stop. And an hour for lunch is, for those of you racing point to point, that's death. But for me, it was for a road trip, casual road trip to New York. I loved it. It was great. And so plugged in, had a nice casual lunch, took it from 15 to 99%, 100%. I know I left at 99, so maybe it's just in that window. And went from Brooksville, Florida to Georgia. Shoot, what's the place in Georgia? I don't know, but I arrived with 8%. I'll put the name in Georgia here for Georgia. That was it. One stop. That was my whole day. 600 miles or 500. Probably 500. Because it was my first Tesla road trip. So I didn't push myself or the vehicle. Because again, I've seen plenty of YouTube videos, but I hadn't done it myself. So I can tell you, have confidence in the supercharger network and the navigation. Believe what it tells you. It's okay. Because when you're stopping every hour and a half to 2 hours for just a 10, 12-minute charge, it's so refreshing. You get out of the car, you stretch a little bit, pee break. Because my next day was like that. I had like 4 stops the next day. I did a longer day, again, intentionally. I planned out all my days for a long lunch stop and then an early evening arrival at a hotel. But the supercharger stops, there was no appreciable delay in the road trip because of supercharger stops. I didn't notice it being egregiously longer to make the same road trip compared to a gas vehicle, combustion. So you're okay there. And then we have the fun stuff like the drag strip and the track days. It's fast. It's fast. They're all fast, but the performance, it really shines in the road course, in the turns. These tires are Hankook Ion Evo AS, super duper quiet, pretty great efficiency on the highway, and I would say they're above average at the racetrack. The Michelin Pilot Sport, which I think for EVs is called the AS, could be the ideal track day daily driver tire. This is the ideal daily driver, almost track day. I did play with pressures, but the best I could do was, according to the G meter, was probably like 0.92, 0.94 in the turns. And it was kind of the same as what my Focus ST was, like mid to high 30 mile an hour in the sharp turns, and that was about the same as what I was getting in my Focus ST. And the launch off the corner with all-wheel drive, fantastic. I did my first laps in just my street mode, and then for the later sessions I used track mode. Track mode is different. It really is different. Not just in the graphics, but in the dynamics. Very interesting. It was only the one track day, so in the next track day, I'll be able to give you a bit more resolution in my impressions between daily driver mode and track mode. And with track mode, I just did 50-50 bias, front rear. Basically, I just used the race preset. There's presets. There's like 3 in the track mode in the Tesla. So that's it, man. The frunk, I have cleaning supplies in the frunk, and that's this here, as you can see. And then the back here is just, this is from Tesla. And I wanted to get kind of like a disposable carpet kind of thing. So that's what I wanted. And Tesla provided it. So instead of having some rubber thing here, there's benefits for it being grippy. But for me, the carpet one is my preference. If I was in the north, if I was back in Michigan, New York, I'd probably do the rubber one in the back. Tesla sells a rubber one as well. So you're all good there. And then I totally recommend it. I'm looking forward to the Juniper, seeing what that's like. Reading reviews, and oddly enough, I think in the near term, I think leases might be the way for me on EVs. I did a demo ride in a 23 long range Model Y, and borderline harsh. Firm, just like the Model 3 standard was, the rental. And I guess that's just the thing with the EVs, probably because of what the vehicle weighs. They have to use higher spring rate on all 4 corners. And as a mechanical engineer, I was a suspension engineer for a season. And I had some doubts about the order I had put in for the Performance 2024 Performance. This one was built in Texas in March, and I got it in April here there in Miami. But when I got into this thing, I started driving it, they must have changed something. Either they got a new set of engineers, or the current set of engineers learned something. Because whoever set up the chassis and suspension in this thing, chef's kiss. Magnificent. Well damped, firm without being harsh. Their tire choice, magnificent for 99% of what you would do with the Model Y. Because really, how many track day miles do I have? 90 out of 6,000 miles. So the Performance really is primo. And the suspension setup is pretty good, even for the track. I did have what they call in Formula One, a moment, and that's this here. Oh, you saw it in the beginning, and that happened on cold tires. That was an outlap. I was too aggressive on. And the second factor was you're on the banking there. It's not so obvious in the camera, but you're on the banking there, and when you transition down into the road circuit, to the road course, it's a pretty sharp transition. And it's really a lot sharper than it should be, quite frankly. But it's pretty sharp transition, and so it got unsettled. So cold tires would be okay. Unsettled would be okay. But when you had both, that's when I had a bunch of oversteer. That's when the rear end stepped out, and I had to save it. Snow driving skills. So get yourself a Model Y if you're looking for it. Get a lease. Do a 2-year lease. This way you can jump into the Juniper when it comes out. Alright guys. See y'all later.